From the Big D on the island of Nicollet, we proudly present another edition of high school girls basketball. Tonight, a fun matchup awaits us as the DeLaSalle Islanders host the Minneapolis North Polars, both teams looking to get a primer before section play begins. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Peden and I'm joined by the 5-time state tournament champion and member of the Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, Larry McKenzie. And Larry, a lot of folks would see your Minneapolis North title and think you're going to be cheering for North here, but you have some pretty deep connections with both coaches.
Oh, I do. Actually, Coach Tanysha Scott grew up as my daughter's best friend and spent a lot of time in my house. And my daughter's also a graduate of DeLaSalle, played basketball here.
These two teams used to play each other back when Faye Johnson-Patterson led the Polars and Tanysha Scott and your daughter were players. They're hoping to revive that rivalry tonight. What should we look for in this game?
Well, I think it'll be interesting because I think both teams are wanting to get up and down the floor. And as you said, the game is critical in terms of getting momentum going into the playoff, section playoff.
Minneapolis North, they've been over 500 since Crystal Flint took over. They've been looking for that statement win, a win where they would tell the rest of the Class A field that we're here. They have a chance tonight with DeLaSalle, and one player who could help them get there is Monique Wooten.
Well, no question about it. Like you said, this would definitely be a signature win. And, obviously, Tanysha Scott has done a really good job. Both coaches have in terms of restoring some of the tradition of winning that both teams have been known for.
And on DeLaSalle's end, they don't have a lot of double-digit scores, but they do have Ayanna Gardner, and they are coming off a big win over Maranatha Christian Academy last night. They'll be a sleeper team in Section 4-3A, but if they can get a groove going before the playoffs start, they could be a team to watch for.
Well, this is the right time of year to begin to do that. So you want to be playing and right. And so coming off the win against Maranatha and possibly being victorious tonight against Minneapolis North would be a good step toward becoming at least considered as a contender for section championship.
And Tanysha Scott will be looking to get her first win against Crystal Flint. The two have gone at it at the Intercity All-Star Classic. This is their first competitive matchup. Tanysha Scott is hoping she can finally add a win to her column. Well, the starting lineups in a moment. You're watching high school girls basketball. And we rejoin you at Nicollet Island, LL Gray Gymnasium. Mike Peden and Larry McKenzie with you, and before they get to the starting lineups, it is senior night at DeLaSalle. Only one senior this year, Dejanay Copeland, and so she will be recognized by her younger teammates. And DeLaSalle, a program that had quite some success, especially when Faye Johnson-Patterson led the girls team 3 straight state tournament titles. And as you noted in the open, Tanysha Scott trying to rebuild some of that prestige, and DeLaSalle came awfully close to getting into the 3A state tournament last year, and there's a good chance they could get there this year.
Well, I mean, I think right now they're playing pretty good, and I think she's done a really good job of trying to keep some of that tradition going here.
Now, you mentioned how you got to know Tanysha through your family connection. I want to know how you got in touch with Crystal. How did you two encounter each other?
Crystal actually coached boys for the longest. And so as I'm out and about and watching young kids, I get to know the coaches and the kids. And she was one of those coaches with Urban Stars that actually we have a number of those kids playing for us now.
And here come the starters, so let's recap them for you. For Minneapolis North, it's Monique Wooten, number 1, the junior guard. Serena Baller, number 2, the junior guard. Alani Pettis, number 22, the freshman forward. Alexandria McNeil, number 23, the 7th grade guard. And Kenya Brooks, number 35, the junior guard. DeLaSalle will start Dakota Speidel, number 3, the junior guard. Olivia Travis, number 4, the junior center. Mary Claire Francois, number 5, the sophomore center. Alexis Cochran-Starr, number 10, the freshman guard. And Ayana Gardner, number 13, the junior guard. Last game of the season for both schools before they start section play. The seedings have not come out yet. If you go by QRF, DeLaSalle would be the 4th team in section 4-3A. Matamidi and Como Park figure to be challengers. Minneapolis North, they'll go by QRF. Depending on what happens tonight, they'll either end up with the 2 or 3 seed.
And I think, they'll have to probably get past Maranatha in order to get to the state tournament. So tonight's game will be a good gauge as to where you are and give you a kind of a look to see what you need to do in terms of actually getting prepared to play at that high level.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's play basketball.
And Heritage could be a sleeper team in that group. But you're right, Maranatha the likely favorite, although I'm sure North got word of the DeLaSalle thumping of Maranatha last night, so the Polars are thinking, hey, if DeLaSalle can do it, why can't we?
Well, we'll see here shortly.
And I had a chance to speak with both Tanysha and Crystal before the game. We'll run that interview at halftime. But the two were excited when Crystal got the North job. Tanysha was still at South and was looking forward to those matchups. But when the DeLaSalle job opened up, she moved over because, in her view, it was like coming home.
Well, she had a great career here.
Part of the inaugural state tournament team back in 2001. And after a couple of rescheduling changes, they were able to work out this matchup, and they're hoping to start the rivalry once again.
Yeah, I remember that game, sitting up in the stand. I think Tanysha, Rashida, and Charity was all freshmen on that team.
North will wear the road white. DeLaSalle will wear the home black. And all right, we got to get everyone lined up here. And we're off. Two primarily young teams that will have a lot of pieces coming back. Where these two schools, a year from now, I don't want to say they're not state tournament contenders this year, but they could be a force to be reckoned with a year or two from now.
Yeah, a little experience always helps. Good move.
Monique Wooten gets us started. Wooten is the team's leading scorer, and she's done a nice job taking over that role after Andrea Gray left the Lady Polars to go to Hopkins. There she is with a steal. One-on-one, cuts through Gardner and draws a foul. Monique Wooten, the junior. Season high 28. And when Crystal got the job last year, she was among several candidates. I will admit that I was pleased with the hiring, and not because of our friendship, but because she would bring a sense of accountability to this Polar program. And you need that if you're going to have great success.
No question about it. And I think she's done that.
And one way she's done so is bringing in guest coaches, as she's done throughout the season. And one of them, Stephon Diggs, invited the team to the Vikings season finale as Speidel hits the three-pointer. And that was something that made the Polars' day. Wooten tried to go to Pettis, didn't work out. Gardner on the run, and she gets the roll.
Well, North will certainly have to try to get back in that transition defense.
Islanders with a 5-2 start.
Good job of breaking the press.
Wooten out to 23, Alexandria McNeil. Kenya Brooks comes up short there. Gardner, look at her speed. And Alani Pettis is not afraid to make contact.
Well, that was pretty good contact right there.
I covered the North-South game, and there were a couple of times she drove to the rim and kind of knocked over her competition.
Yeah, she's a pretty physical player.
Ayanna Gardner transferred midway through her sophomore season. Her father is part of the coaching staff here at DeLaSalle and has slowly gotten into the groove in her season and a half with the Islanders. They're off to a 7-2 start. Monique Wooten showing a little transition speed, comes up short. Mary Claire Francois gets pickpocketed by Ballard. Ballard with the lane. Yes!
Good steal, good bucket.
And I thought for a moment that Francois may have made contact, but he'll take those 2 points. Olivia Travis, the younger sister of Reed and Noah, or Jonah, I should say, tried to go up, and Alani Pettis looks a little perplexed by that foul call.
Is that number 2 already?
It is. And Pettis is one of your floor leaders. She was instrumental in the game against Minneapolis South that I covered in helping them come back. Gardner for 3. Off the rim. DeLaSalle, that's going to be a jump ball, and the arrow favors the Islanders. DeLaSalle was ferocious from three-point range last night in the win over Maranatha.
Well, that's why I'm a little curious is watching. I mean, I don't know if the game was scouted or not, but, you know, Minneapolis North is sitting back in the zone. Going to get a lot of open looks.
Lule Youssef is in the game for the Polars, number 15. And she's playing with a heavy heart. I'll get to that when we have a stoppage in play. Ballard for 3. Off the rim, and the rebound goes to Travis. Speidel, the bounce pass to Travis, and DeLaSalle will be set. Francois kicks out, Speidel, 3-ball, corner pocket.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to make some adjustments on that right now. They're getting some really good open looks.
Ballard tried the bounce, and Brooks couldn't read the play.
Yeah, North is also going to have to handle DeLaSalle's pressure. And I'll look for Coach Scott to turn that up a little bit.
Tanysha said she had a good chance or felt good about the prospects of finally getting a win over Crystal Flint. Like I said, the two are good friends, but make no mistake, they want to get bragging rights. And Lule Youssef, last night, her cousin unfortunately was killed in a car accident that took place that involved 5 passengers, and her cousin was not wearing a seatbelt, so she's been dealing with that over the last 24 hours. I talked to her a little bit, said she's doing fine. And
sorry to hear about her loss.
Right. Anna Gardner scores for the Islanders and has a chance at 3. And it's been a rough week or so for Youssef following the game with Patrick Henry. There was, you heard about this, a parent of a Patrick Henry player encouraged her daughter to pick a fight with Youssef and brought a whole bunch of nonsense to that situation. So if there's anyone due, as Lule Youssef scores, if there's anyone due for a good game, it would be Youssef. 13-6 is our score as we have a timeout. DeLaSalle winning the hustle plays thus far. And Anna Gardner with a quick 7 points. DeLaSalle's offense has come from just 2 players, but you've got the outside threat with Speidel and the inside threat with Gardner.
Well, yeah, so North is going to have to figure out an answer. I mean, stop penetration, because right now the penetration and kick is working. She's either getting all the way to the cup or kicking it out, and they're knocking down the 3.
But a long way to go, and North, over the last couple of years since I covered this team, they are really good at employing a pressure defense of their own. They get the stop that time. Looks like Youssef took a little bump to the head. There's Ballard. Is she going to take it herself? No, she'll bounce it over. And here comes Youssef with the ball. And lost control of it. Gardner with the heads-up defense there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that North is dropping back and not trying to put a little bit more pressure on DeLaSalle as well.
DeLaSalle looking to pick up their 3rd straight win. And Noah Francois gets them 3 points closer. Entering this game, the Polars had won 7 straight. Ballard to Youssef. Threw it up in traffic.
Gonna need to make those easy ones.
And from my vantage point, the bounce pass wasn't as clean as it could have been, and that extra second cost an open layup for Youssef. And then we'll go to North after Noah Francois stepped out of bounds.
Well, early on, looks like D is falling in love with that 3-point line.
Well, like you said, North's defense giving them some looks out there. Now Ballard fires for 3. Comes up strong there. Nora again. This one time it's short. Ballard, all 5 foot 3 inches, gets the rebound. She's poked from behind by number 15, Isabel Flory.
Well, Francois, I mean, I haven't seen her play, but she seems to look like she's a pretty good shooter out there.
She's the youngest player on the DeLaSalle roster, a 6 foot 8th grade center. And North has some youth of their own. Alexandria McNeil, number 23, just a 7th grader. You know a thing or two about that, having a 7th grader on your roster.
Yeah, we've got one that's going to be pretty good.
Here's Youssef.
Tough shot.
And Gardner has a transition chance. Nice defense by Ballard, avoiding the foul and getting the stop.
Good hustle.
Her nickname is White Chocolate. And you know why.
Yes.
North going outlet. Ballard. Oh! Tried to fake, it didn't work, but Youssef comes up with a steal.
And she's got to shoot the ball.
McNeil comes up strong. Once again, North's passing seemed a little off target. And now Gardner pulls up. That doesn't fall either. North will try to go outlet again. Ballard lays it in.
She's got to do that a little bit more on those opportunities. She's had a couple opportunities to attack the baskets where she's passed up shots.
Ballard averages 9.3 a game. Can provide a burst of offense if needed, and that's going to be a foul on Youssef. That will send Nerje Weems to the line. In a big community outpouring tonight, we have the St. Helena youth team, which includes Tanysha's daughter, Kendall.
Which is my daughter's goddaughter.
And members of the Como Park girls basketball team also in attendance tonight. They played North earlier this season, had a big community night. Como won that one in overtime in a thrilling, emotional game. And for the Cougars, a little bit of scouting perhaps, since DeLaSalle is in their section.
Yeah, good night to come out, see some good basketball, and do a little bit of scouting.
And Nerje Weems gets a three-point play in reverse following the second chance. And Como Park coming off a big win over the number 4 team in Class A, Cromwell Wright. The Cougars a bit of an underdog to reach state this year. That's a walk on Gianna Villarreal Griffin. And the progression of the North girls, not that I can mirror what you've done, but it highlights the example of patience, because I've covered the boys team for years, and those first couple of years, you couldn't get past Maranatha in that doggone section final.
We're pretty young. We're pretty young.
But it paid off in that third year, and it's just a reminder that sometimes change takes a little while.
Takes a little patience. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, and this was something I wanted to bring up at the Cretan game, another walk on Youssef, because DeLaSalle, of course, winners of 5 straight state championships for the boys in Class 3A, and it seems like every year there's at least one person that asks, why don't they go to 4A? And you dealt with a similar response last year. As I understand, there were a few folks thinking you didn't belong in Class A because you were rolling over the competition. Almost forgetting that it took you a couple of years to get there.
And, you know, I mean, we don't have any control over the enrollment. So when you have a small school of 400, you know, we really don't have a lot of athletes in terms of choosing from.
Noah Francois gets the transition bucket, and DeLaSalle is picking up where they left off a night ago. And that's a foul on Isabel Flory. And I know in current society it's easy to get your opinions out there. It's easy to put out the hot take and get some hate views. But in the case of DeLaSalle, I think it would be a disservice to say, why aren't you in 4A, with how hard it is to win 5 in a row, as Pettis will go to the line for 2. And then last year, I mean, yeah, you didn't have to sweat any games in the state tournament, but it took you 3 years to get there.
Right. And so, I mean, I just think that, you know, sometimes when you win, people really don't understand how difficult that is to even win 5 in a row. And just because, you know, you have a nice run doesn't necessarily mean that you can play over a long period of time at a higher level.
And if there's anyone who would know about that, it would be you, because until DeLaSalle won 5 in a row, you held the record for most consecutive state titles at Patrick Henry.
Yeah, trying to make another run.
Well, you've got 1 down. You only need 4
more
to
to
tie.
go.
Well, if DeLaSalle doesn't win this year. But more importantly, as Speidel misses
Too
the
many
three-point.
open looks. 4.
They had about 5 offensive rebounds,
5 offensive rebounds.
but they couldn't put it down. And now Pettis on the other end will shoot 2 again. And she's a little frustrated because she wanted the end one.
Got to learn to use that glass.
I've often said early in my career that the backboard exists for a reason.
No question about it.
There's nothing wrong with calling glass, as they say. But more importantly, we all like to talk about the state tournament titles. And you look at what the DeLaSalle boys have done and what you've been able to do with the North boys and what Crystal's doing now with the North girls is building characters that will contribute to society in a positive way, because at some point we're going to forget about the win-loss record and how many titles you won.
Yeah, and then most kids are only going to play for so long. Oh, good move.
8:20 left, DeLaSalle with a 21-9 lead. And it seems like they've had about 10 or 15 second chances here, and they've had trouble converting. Well, Gardner tried to use the glass and couldn't put it in.
Well, DeLaSalle's doing a good job right now, and the key is that they're dominating on the glass. Too many second chance shots.
Bad pass from Cook. Pettis almost ripped it away. North with the arrow, and
She's a real physical player.
You got to give props to Pettis for salvaging that possession.
No question.
But if I'm DeLaSalle, you're winning the battle of the boards, but if you don't convert some of these second chance looks, you're going to open up a door for you for Minneapolis North. Ballard sinks the 3. As you know, in basketball, there's usually one good run from each team. Not always, but...
Well, almost always. It's a game of runs. And so eventually North will make a run.
You would have to assume so.
Oh, good play.
Oh, Travis, that bounced out. DeLaSalle having trouble draining the bunnies.
Yeah, excellent high-low, though.
Francois, cleaner, no good. And Kenya Brooks swats it away. And she pulls a little juke on Speidel. North showing a little finesse. Cook for 3. Almost went in.
Good look.
The Polars are not intimidated, even though they're down by 9.
No, and they're playing extremely hard.
It feels like DeLaSalle should be up by more, but some of that is just the hustle from North. That time they finished the high-low, and Olivia Travis gets on the board.
Yeah, it's really hard with the size advantage for North to challenge that.
And Ballard throws an errant pass. And Olivia Travis has scored the last basket. Tanysha Scott has really praised her growth in leadership this year to help guide this relatively young Islanders team. And we spoke about statement wins in the Open. DeLaSalle has quite a few of them. They knocked off Minnehaha Academy on Martin Luther King Day. We talked about their win over Cretin-Durham Hall. They came close to knocking off Holy Angels. So there have been moments where the Islanders have proved their mettle.
And if they could play with Holy Angels, which is by far the best team in 3A, yeah, I mean, they'll have a chance.
North with the steal.
Good hustle play. Oh, good defense.
I'll have to figure out who number 5 is. She's not in my program. Pettis can't finish. The rebound tips right to her. Another jump, DeLaSalle with the arrow. But another example here of North's grit. And if they can get past this hump, I feel they'll have a chance to rally back. North has been showing signs. The question is, can they finish the job?
And so they got to convert some of those easy looks that they're getting, and they haven't been able to do that.
And Crystal Flint's going to call a timeout to settle her players down. And here's a fun little story. Last year, on her phone, Crystal had me listed as Tony Gear. Of course, she shared that story with the two of us, Tony, the late friend of ours. And a lot of folks that compare me to him once I started doing this more frequently, but I thought it was amusing that I got such a consideration.
Well, that's high praise, I would say there, Mike. You know, Tony was my guy, and like I said, he kind of got me started in this. So. And as you know, I have to do it before the night's over, but I fired Tony after every broadcast.
Every broadcast, every job, he told me about all the times you fired him from the rib knees.
Probably 2 or 3 times a day with the rib knee.
I'm sure a few times at Holy Angels.
I could never lose him, though.
He was tough to get rid of.
That I would agree with.
I have to give him props for putting up with me, too, because I was a handful. Still am. I do wonder what he would say with the Lynx winning all the championships and all of the developments that have taken place over the last few years, because he got me into the Lynx.
And Tony, not only the Lynx, but just in terms of women's basketball, and I just think one day it'll be very deserving if he would go into the Hall of Fame.
Travis, another miss down low. Pettis with the board. Here's Youssef. Speaking of the WNBA, she's a big Simone Augustus fan. Wooten, short on the 3. Travis leaks out to Gardner. Another transition miss.
Well, they're letting them play.
They're letting them play, and DeLaSalle's got to find a way to convert those bunnies. Wooten left alone again. Well, she's not hitting them, but you leave her open long enough, eventually she's going to bite you.
Yeah, 1 or 2 are going to eventually fall. I would agree with that.
Less than 5 minutes to play in the first half. The Islanders lead by 11.
Now, interesting enough, you know, DeLaSalle had a lot of success on that high-low and hasn't gone back to it in a while.
And they're going to call the elbow on Pettis.
Should have been an offensive foul. That's going to be her 3rd.
It is. Well, and I saw her leading that elbow out a little bit while she was driving, and as you noted, Pettis is a physical player. I'm not sure she needed to put the elbow out there, but I'm also not playing. And when you've got an open lane, you're not thinking about elbows, you want to score.
Yeah, just get a little extra space there.
Who doesn't want some space? But Pettis will have to manage that. Francois
Really
missing.
Major advantage on the inside.
DeLaSalle with a couple of bigs, and Travis and Mary Claire Francois. And North, as you noted, not a tall team, not a big team, so they have to contend with that, as the St. Helena team is right over here. They've got Pettis listed at 6 feet, but that's being a little generous for the Polars.
I would say so.
Well, you know how it is. It's 6 feet with the shoes on, right?
That's what they say.
Travis knocks down both free throws. Unofficially, I've got the Islanders at 5 of 6. The Polars just 1 of 6. But how will they manage playing the rest of the first half without one of their glue players? Oh, that wasn't a pretty shot, but it goes in.
Yep, needed that one. Stop that run.
And that was number 5 who scored. They haven't updated it on the scoreboard yet. It should be 25-14. It reads 25-12. We'll confirm it for you at halftime.
Yeah, I think they're missing 2 points.
And amusingly, that happened at the Caledonia game. Well, now they fix it, where they had to stop play a couple of times because the score started going in strange directions. And an offensive foul on the Polars. I'm sure you don't mind the free timeouts when they have to fix the score, but at the same time, it can throw you off your rhythm a little bit.
I don't think he had to check the air on the ball.
It looks that way. Making sure it stays within regulation, of course. Star for three. That's short. And the rebound will go out of bounds, and it was last touched by Francois. She tried to jump back, and now that's a play you're not going to fault the Islanders for hustle. Sometimes it doesn't bounce in your direction, but coaches will often tell the players to chase down those rebounds.
Wonder what the turnover count is.
Well, we had a pair of them. DeLaSalle traveled on the way to the basket. I've got a feeling the turnover count is pretty high. I don't think
Probably higher than the score.
I don't think either coach is going to be happy with the assist to turnover ratio.
Not tonight anyway.
Ballard ran into a wall. Francois put up a screen. And when Ballard collided, Francois didn't even move. Like you said, the Islanders with the size advantage. Travis, one-on-one, and she beats Youssef.
They got to do a better job of at least trying to contest that shot.
And if I'm Tanysha Scott, I'm having my post players continue to attack.
I'm going to continue to run that all night.
Gardner, how many transition chances? And Kenya Brooks denies her this time. She's got to have at least a dozen transition looks. And North has come up with so many stops.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't been able to convert too many of those. That's a good defensive play.
Well, and that's a good sign when you see the Polars, yeah, they're down by 13, but they're not giving up on those transition looks.
Not at all.
They keep fighting. Missing the three was Nora Francois. But if you're Ayana Gardner, I imagine you've got to be the most frustrated person on the floor.
Yeah, you got to wonder, what do I got to do?
It's like what Adele said, what does Beyonce have to do to win Album of the Year?
Slowing it down a little bit.
1:30 on the clock. One thing's for sure, the steals number is going to be a good one. There's going to be plenty of steals to count up after this game, and that's going to be a foul on the Polars. And they are in the penalty, so free throws coming.
Got to give it credit, though. Both teams are really hustling. They're going after the ball. You know, it's a battle.
And that's exactly what Tanysha and Crystal told me in pregame. Once the ball tips, they will be battling. And as we noted, a little extra incentive for Tanysha Scott because she has yet to defeat Crystal Flint as a coach. Of course, the All-Star Classic, a little bit different.
A little bit. This one counts.
Yes. Although if you ask Crystal, she's not afraid to tout her 2-0 record. And like we said, there's some fun breaking rights at stake, so I'm okay with that. Noah Francois with the steal, and one.
Well, I've coached several inner city All-Star. I can't tell you what my record is. It's just a fun game to do.
What I'm seeing out of DeLaSalle's transition defense are shades of what they did with Maranatha last night. Maranatha, the girls love to leak out and run outlets. And DeLaSalle picked up on that. They just lay back and wait for a pass to come to them, and they swipe it. And there's another example.
And when you got that kind of length, I mean, you're in the passing lanes, you're tipping the ball, lots of deflections. And one thing that's different for D versus North, DeLaSalle's really doing a good job of hustling back on transition defense.
And I have to imagine they're employing some similar strategies to Maranatha. Spidel missing the three-pointer. Here's Francois, comes up short. Her
Too
sister's
easy.
there. Islanders up by 17. Youssef missing the three. And the Islanders with a chance for an exclamation point to end the first half.
A little miscommunication there.
And as Tony would say, that pass went to absolutely no one.
The Tonyisms.
My favorite was never pass to an opposing coach. DeLaSalle will go into the locker room with a 33-16 lead. Not the prettiest first half we've seen, but the Polars don't have a lot to hang their heads about. They've shown a lot of hustle, again, stopping transition looks. If they can bump up their efficiency, they have a chance to rally back.
Yeah, they just got to go in, make some adjustments, and come back out and make it happen.
And for the Islanders, do you just keep going with what you're doing, or do you try to clean things up a little bit?
I mean, I just think one of the things, hopefully, that coaches will recognize that high-low. I mean, they have such an advantage on the board. So you could afford to take those threes because you're getting second and third chances on the board, but then when that doesn't work, just go inside to your bigs.
So we'll pause and take you to my conversation with Tanysha Scott and Crystal Flint and come back with the second half. You're watching high school girls basketball. The Islanders lead the Polars 33-16. And I'm joined by a couple of coaches who will be going at each other tonight, but the two are close friends off the court, Tanysha Scott and Crystal Flint. And normally we don't do pregame interviews with the coaches, but you two have known each other for a long time. So Tanysha, how did you meet Crystal, and how have you two connected since then?
I would say, seventh grade? My seventh grade year. She was actually the first person who sent me my first official letter from college, the first handwritten letter from college. So, yeah, we've been knowing each other for a long time. So she's been like a mentor to me.
And how would you say she's mentored you over the years as a coach, as a player? Because going back to seventh grade, that's a while.
Yeah, that's a long time. So I've been knowing her throughout my whole high school and college career, and then I've worked camps under her for probably about 10 plus years now, and just the experience, just the different coaching environments that she's been in, she's helped me a lot. Anytime I have questions about anything with players or coaches or any strategic things about basketball, she's always been there to help me.
And the two of you have played each other a couple of times in the Intercity All-Star Classic. Crystal is 2-0 if you want to go head-to-head in that matchup. So how did that serve as a primer for this game? What was that like, and what will it be like tonight to play your first competitive game?
It'll be a little bit different. I can answer that. It will be different. That's an all-star game. It's fun. You're trying to get all the kids involved in the game. Tanysha is a competitor. So, all that subbing just to sub is out the window now. So I know her girls will be ready.
Yeah, definitely, both of us. We're both competitors, and some of my competitiveness I get from her. So it's just like we want to win, all right? But if we don't, we learn from it, just like we do with any other game, and we know it's just fun.
And then when you were growing up as a player at DeLaSalle here and then at UMD, how did Crystal continue to mentor you even though you were a few miles away?
Every summer I used to come home and I worked at camp with her shooting for the Stars. We did it 2 weeks every summer, and that's when I would just ask her personal questions, life questions, basketball questions, how to deal with the coach, and and just little stuff on things to work on my game. She'll point them out if I'm playing around dribbling. Oh, you need to use that left hand, stuff like that. So all of those things we would definitely do every summer and talk about. So it's always good to have those type of mentors around.
And Crystal, do you recall the first time you met Tanysha and what she was as a player or as a person back then?
Not exactly the very first time, but I'm sure it's, when she was in middle school and I was the head coach at Concordia. Hold on, was it Concordia or the U of M? The University of Minnesota. The University of Minnesota, I just finished up playing, and I was the restricted earnings coach at the U of M, and I I was able to go around and recruit locally. 'Cause at that time, the assistants couldn't travel as much, or that particular position. So I knew all the kids, I knew all the traveling programs, and so, I'm handwriting these letters to these kids, and Tanysha was one of them, and, then going on to Concordia, and of course I was like, the kids used to be like, I'm not going to Concordia, I'm above that, which she was, but I said, I'm going to recruit anyway. So I took those letters, moved them over to Concordia, and of course, she went on and had an excellent career at UMD, and, was humble enough to come back and give back to the young people. So at that time, with Shooting Stars, which is now Triple Threat, I wasn't able to actually get out there and really show them. So Tanysha was my demonstrator. There you go. She would get out there, and I'd be like, Tanysha, show them how to go and do it with the left hand crossover and the, finger roll. And Tanysha, like, I got that. So, but just the awesome young lady. She's doing an awesome job over here. I went to see you guys play Fritley the other night. Just doing an awesome job, helping her younger sisters, and the camps and the clinics, and just really getting the ball rolling back over here. So not back, but well, they got off track for a little bit. So Tanysha's helping them get back to where they once were. So.
Well, she helped them get started way back in 2001. Now she's helping them just finish that, if you know what I mean.
I think we're both on the same track of getting our programs back up.
I was an 8th grader?
Yeah, 8th grader. 8th grader. So I think we're both in the same kind of boat, is we're both trying to get our programs back on track to the way they were, and with the young players, bringing them up and developing them. And that's one of the big things I got from her too, is like how to develop players, and and some of the things off the court, like how to build those relationships with your players. And I think that's a really big piece that I learned from her throughout the years.
Yeah, and we call and we talk to each other. She's done some things with her program that I've liked, and I've done and implemented with mine. Even with, I talked to you about the banquets and how you do things over here. So, I mean, I'm older, but I'm still learning as well. And Tanysha's always like, this is what we do. This is how I get parents involved, things of that sort. So, she's doing a great job.
Never told to stop learning, of course. And actually, I wanted to touch on that. How did Tanysha help you get acclimated when you decided to take the head coaching job at North? Because as you talked about, you had a lot of experience in Minnesota Concordia, but North is your first high school assignment.
Yeah, high school is a different animal, and you're dealing with a lot. The kids are younger, they're more immature. But Tanysha knew, what paperwork to get in, things of that sort. Scheduling and stuff like that, and so she's been really helpful. And I was like, dang, she's getting ready to go over to DeLaSalle, because we were ready for South. Had a mutual friend of ours about to fly in from Texas to watch the game, and then she came over here to DeLaSalle. So I'm really glad that this day, is happening, and it's a mutual respect. And the kids, they'll have respect for each other, and it'll be a good game. And I like to, you'll come to us next year, and we'll just keep this going.
So have you two traded any smack talk leading up to this game?
Not really, not so far. I'm pretty sure that'll probably happen like during a game or something.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Well,
Tanysha be looking down like, in that All-Star game, she be like, really, ref? She riding the refs, and I'm just, like, all right, I know, I've ref before, but it's all in fun. It's for the kids, and she is a coach that has that in mind. All coaches don't have that in mind. It's about their egos, their win-loss record, and it's about the kids. So.
And you also touched on this, but how would you say Tanysha has grown as a person since you first met her and sent her that letter back in 7th grade?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, high school. I don't even know wwho I could compare.
But what, 5'2" back then? No.
She was just cool, laid back, kind of like. Now she's going for your throat. Like, she's like, really. I mean, and I played against her, and I was just like, it's time for me to like these kids. It's down.
She sent you into retirement?
But you know what? I was really impressed a few years ago. I don't know, what was that women's semi-pro team here?
Black Ice or the
Black Ice. Man, I reffed the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Like, T went from because we play at the Y. I went up to the Silver Fox, the 40 and up, and Tanysha was still, and I was like, I can't play with these kids anymore. But she went to like another level, just the leadership, like the coach didn't really have anything to do. And that's the kind of player that you want on your team. And, she's like a player coach, which, that's growth right there, so just, you got that shot, go left, go right, put people in position to score. She knows how to do that. So she's grown. I'm impressed. I'm proud of her.
And I was there when Tanysha, I think, dropped about 25 or so in the last Black Ice game down in Nicollet. So they lost, but I can attest, or I can confirm that she does have skills. So it's not just you.
In Minnesota Lynx, if y'all out there, call her up. She still got something.
Waylon's got to retire eventually. And so how excited are you to finally get this first meeting with each other? And what do you hope this match and this game will do for your teams and the community? What do you hope to see out of this matchup tonight?
Well,
You go ahead.
for us personally, I mean, it's a close game. It's a city game. This is DeLaSalle, their private school, but it's still a city game. The fans can get here from both sides. The kids, a lot of them know each other. And the community will come out. I think the community will be here. Nice atmosphere, something positive, and a competitive matchup of two young, up-and-coming teams. So,
Yeah, I would say the same thing she said. So she said it all. So, yep. And it's just good. I know when I was here at DeLaSalle, we played Minneapolis North every year, and it was always an intense rivalry. A lot of us, I lived in North Minneapolis, actually right across the street from North, and went to DeLaSalle. So, it was a lot of my friends at North Minneapolis that played there during the years I was there. So it'll be a good rivalry for us to start and for us to keep going for years to come.
and I think for us personally, I don't know about Tanysha. I really haven't followed her schedule, but we've had some pretty non-competitive games, and this competitive game about to go into sections will be good for us. So glad that we're having this game right now.
Yeah, because the two of you both have some tough competition ahead. With your section, it's Matamidi, Como Park, and in Section 4A, Maranatha, Heritage. So good primer. And then anyone you want to say hi to that will watch this game?
No, I think they're all going to be here. They're all going to be here tonight.
What about you, Crystal?
Northside, come out. Come out.
Well, thanks for stopping by. Have fun out there, and try not to punch each other in the face.
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're back at LL Gray Gymnasium on the campus of DeLaSalle High School on Nicollet Island. Mike Peden and the Hall of Famer Larry McKenzie with you. And as we watch the St. Helena team continue their scrimmage, there was big news in women's basketball this week, and I wanted to get your feedback on this involving the statements made by Candace Wiggins that were published by the San Diego Union Tribune. Now, while you haven't coached girls per se, as you noted, your daughter played for DeLaSalle, and
Actually, I coached both Rashida and Tanysha for 3 summers.
Okay, so you coached them in the summer, but just not in the winter.
Yeah, just no. I don't think I could do that in
so long. Well, that being said, you're a highly supportive figure when it comes to women's basketball. What Crystal Flint's doing in North, Tanysha at DeLaSalle, and so. What did you make of the whole situation? And don't worry about being right or wrong, because I'm not looking for that, but I want to get your take and try to promote this conversation.
So I'm going to be honest, Mike, I've only just scanned the article, and I'm not really totally familiar with the statement that Candace Wiggins made. So I've just kind of heard some bits and pieces. So, and really right now, I mean, I don't have enough information to speak on it.
Well, I did post a follow-up that was published by Michelle Vopel of ESPN yesterday, where she spoke with several players and coaches about what Wiggins said. Some of the quotes that Candace made involved being bullied because she was heterosexual, claiming 98% of WNBA players were gay, and the players weren't denying that what she said took place, but they were all perplexed about the way she went about it. And so several of them have responded either through interviews or their own blog posts stating that in the locker room and at practice, they didn't see the same thing that Candace was seeing.
Well, I mean, again, you've worked in that arena. You're certainly more familiar with the players, with the league. So, I mean, I would say you're in a better position to speak on it. But, you know, I mean, let's be honest. The WNBA has not, you know, hidden from the fact that that is a market that they go after. That's a majority of who buys the tickets. And there's a number of women, you know, who have that kind of a lifestyle.
And I'll go over some of the remarks made by the players in this Volpel story. Delisha Milton-Jones, who won a pair of titles with the Los Angeles Sparks, said, "I know Candace is a sweet, intelligent young lady. I don't want to take anything from her experiences while in the league, so I can only speak for what I experienced firsthand. And it's in complete contradiction of what's been stated by Candace."
So, Mike, let me ask you this question, because you're from Hawaii. What would you think motivated her to come out at this time to say something to the fact of what she said?
I mentioned this in my video essay yesterday as we get the second half going. She mentioned that she had an autobiography in the works. And one way to generate interest in one of your own projects, you go on to a media outlet, and in this day, even with newspapers, they get published online. It catches like fire.
Right,
And
great
you say
way to
something
begin book
controversial,
sales.
it's a way to draw attention to yourself. Everything else is conjecture because this is a he said, she said type of story. You don't have hidden cameras in the locker rooms for obvious reasons, so there's no way to know what exactly took place in there. But when you factor this upcoming autobiography, as witnesses the reverse, coupled with the fact that she's retired, so whatever she says, she won't have to worry about confronting any of the players or coaches that she put on blast. Those are some of the motivations that I suspect. Now, again, everything that she said, I'm not denying took place, but I do wonder, like you said, what was the intent? And when all of the players and coaches that have come out and refuted what she had said, again, not denying that bullying took place, but acknowledging the locker room as a place of inclusiveness, you do have to wonder how she interpreted things compared to how other players do. And bullying is no joke. I went through it as a kid, growing up on the autism spectrum. I don't hold any grudges about it because when you're kids, you know, kids are strange.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not a joke at any level at all. So.
And a lot of players came out and said that too, that if she felt that way, I think some of them would have wished they would have heard it so that they could have done something about it, or at least better understood her position. I'll be curious to see how this discussion evolves over the next few days. A few other players and media figures have said they would chime in with their responses as the week progresses. And Spidel's going to chime in from three-point range. That's her third triple.
Yeah, DeLaSalle has come out. I think they're on like a 5-6 nothing run right now. Oh, good pass. Late whistle.
And that will send Wooten to the line. 38-16 is our score in favor of the Islanders. And to finish up our discussion, I mentioned this yesterday. The statements I heard from Candace don't reflect the Candace Wiggins I got to know when she was a player. Because I interviewed her many times when she was with Minnesota. We had a great rapport and really was proud about how she was able to use the platform to be an advocate for AIDS awareness. And that's what a lot of folks find disheartening is the WNBA, even though it has a niche audience, it gave her a platform.
No question about it.
And now she's taking that platform and sticking it up everyone's rear end, so to speak.
Well, Gardner's having a tough night. She just can't get anything going to the basket.
She has 7 points, and she had that quick start.
Yeah, but she got off to a really quick start, a couple layoffs, and then it's been fairly tough since then.
She draws the foul, will shoot 2 here. And when you look at the score, 38-18, you might not have any idea that she's been struggling. But she's getting a lot of help. Nora Francois with 9, Dakota Spida with 9, and Olivia Travis with 8. And as you know, balance helps.
No question about it.
Well, I've often said your boys' team is among the deepest in Class A. As Youssef misses the three-pointer. And comes up with a steal. Wooten. North may not win this game, but that may be my play of the game. That was a great fake.
It really was. I mean, there's got to be a run someplace for North coming up here fairly soon.
And again, they've shown some glimpses, and not just in this game, but in the games with South. They had a couple of close ones there. Starr misses the 3. On that first game with South, they lost by a point in overtime. The second one was close until the final minutes.
Oh, see, if North could just run off a string of baskets, they can get back into this game. Got to convert some of those easy ones.
Consistency has been an issue. Gardner cuts through and is blocked by Brooks.
Look at her.
Kenya Brooks, she's come up with a couple of big-time blocks here. And both have been on Gardner. One in transition, one on the drive. But another miss from the Polars. If you could get points for defense, North will be looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, they'd be probably leading the game because they've done a good job.
They'd be in contention. I mean, DeLaSalle's come up with some big stops too, but like we said, this is a team with a strong defense. If they can develop their offense, who knows what they could do in the years to come. Marie-Claire Francois has had enough of this, and she'll go to the line.
Well, I like Francois' game. I mean, she can go inside, outside. Yeah, force to be reckoned with.
Tanysha, like we said, really excited to see how these young pieces can develop. And since I am the WNBA expert, I will also add that her eyes light up every time you mention the names Elena Deladon and Christy Tolliver now. Because as you may know, they went to Washington, Deladon in the trade, Tolliver's a free agent.
Oh.
And so they'll be helping out Taylor Hill over there.
Very interesting.
As you can imagine, Tanysha Scott's a big Lynx fan, except when they play Washington. We'll give her a pass.
I'm also a little bit surprised that DeLaSalle is playing so slow. They're actually slowing the game down and giving North a chance to get back in this. Oh, good look.
Well, they're up by 21, and there's an example with a steal by Wooten. They're up big, but
well, that's not a lot of points.
Right. Well, and I agree with you in the sense that if you play a little more up-tempo, that's when you seem to have North on the ropes. Although perhaps they're wary of Kenya Brooks. Alani Pettis is back in. No whistle. And that was off of Pettis, so we'll stay with the Islanders.
And she's actually the one player that North has that is giving a challenge to the bigger players from D.
And that's a foul on Wooten, so free throws coming for Nora Francois. And what you talk about with Pettis, if she keeps this up, and we've seen her play physical and hustle throughout the season, you do that enough times and eventually her teammates may pick that up through osmosis, because there's some examples tonight and in that South game, as Wooten picks up her 4th foul, I should add, of what can happen when you play aggressive and you go after it. Good things can happen. And that's not to say the other North players are laying back and being lazy, but Pettis, she's fearless. She doesn't care that she has 3 fouls.
Not at all. And I like to see that in a player.
Laura Francois makes both free throws, 23-point margin for the Islanders, as they look to end the season with a 3-game winning streak before starting section play. And that's a foul on Isabel Flory. And I will say this, since Crystal Flint took over, maybe North doesn't have that signature win, but the morale's a lot higher.
I would agree with that.
There's a higher sense of accountability, and other coaches told me that before she came in, there was some disciplinary issues and just not a lot of chemistry within the team. And since she took over, again, maybe the wins haven't come as much as they would like, but they believe in each other, and that can go a long way.
Well, no, that's a starting place, and so, you know, particularly when you got a young team, I mean, you just want to have them learn how to become family and play together, and then that'll carry over and get you some big wins sooner or later.
Well, on your end, I remember doing a piece on Tyler Johnson a couple of years ago, and his first year before you came in, North lost a lot of games, and it was hard on him. And his father said, good things will come if you stay with it. And over the years, those losses became wins, and Nora Francois knocking down another three-pointer. The 8th grader has 14.
She's going to be a player to be reckoned with. She's an 8th grader?
8th grader, she's got 14.
Wow.
In fact, that's a new season high. And now DeLaSalle's on the run, and they'll shoot more free throws here with Spidel. But to finish up with Tyler Johnson and with what you've been able to do, they believed in each other, and a few of them are in attendance tonight. Now they're going in believing they can win every game, and for the most part you have. I think you've only lost to Apple Valley this year.
Yeah, we're on a 24-game winning streak right now, with the first loss of the season.
But you were going to say something on DeLaSalle before I jumped in.
Well, I was going to say, with their height advantage and being able to dominate the boards, you would think that they would look to run a little bit more. And that's why I was surprised that they're walking the ball down.
Well, how about this for free throw shooting? 12 of 15. That's 80% for you mathematicians.
Well, I tell you, North is struggling right now to just catch the ball.
Well, and I'll say this, because this has happened to North a few times. They got their butts whooped by Mountain Iron Buell, the #1 team in Class A earlier this year, but you got to give credit to Crystal for, well, there's Pettis.
Again, taking a charge with 3 fouls.
Like we said, she doesn't care that she has 3 fouls. She's going to keep hustling. But sometimes to grow, you have to take those lumps.
No pain, no gain.
In your case, I know one thorn that you had when it wasn't Maranatha, it was Wyzetta.
Yes.
And that tall, lengthy team. And oh, there's another steal for the Islanders. Isabel Flory all alone. Goodbye.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to give up easy baskets. You know, it's one thing to make them move the ball and take some tough shots, but you don't want to give off this transition basket. Good basket.
Serena Ballard scores and has a chance at 3. And of course, you don't want to get a wallop when you go into a game, but when you're a team that hasn't been used to success in a while, the last championship for the Lady Polars was 2005, and sometimes you have to get a taste of what it's like at the top before you can emulate it.
Yes, it's learned behavior.
And DeLaSalle, they're thriving in the second half offensively. Nerje Weems scoring.
I mean, they're getting some pretty easy basket, high percentage shots.
And that was good post defense by Nora Francois, denying Alani Pettis.
Good run, rim run.
There's another high percentage shot. Weems hesitated a bit, but when you're back to the basket.
She looked like she was surprised that she was that open.
And that happens a couple of times. And if that had not been a kickball, Flory might have had another transition bucket.
Well, I tell you, this 1-2-2 defense right now has been pretty challenging for North.
Adding to our community theme, we mentioned Como and St. Helena. I noticed that a DeLaSalle alum is in attendance, Alina Starr, who won 3 championships here with the Islanders. Says she wants to get into sports commentary after she graduates.
Well, there you go, Mike, a future partner.
Future problem, yeah, she might come for my job. That's an offensive foul on the Islanders. Well, here's a take that I think you may be more of an expert in. How would you say Tanysha has developed as a coach? Because she's been doing this for a while, starting at South and coaching her sisters. She was an assistant for Dana Gilbert-Hayes. Now she's here leading DeLaSalle. And how has she grown since the days where she would come over to your house?
First of all, she was an excellent point guard with a very, very high basketball IQ. So I'm not surprised at all in terms of the success she's had as a coach. And I think you could tell, I mean, she's done a really good job every stop that she's been at. And I just think it's a matter of time before DeLaSalle is back into the state tournament. That's Peden's second charge.
Again, Pettis is relentless. And I've covered some North games over the last couple of years, and I've been impressed when Alani Pettis takes the floor. Every time she finds some way to get my attention. Oh, there's a nice backdoor play, but that's a jump ball. DeLaSalle with the arrow. Number 5, by the way, is Kiana Brooks for the Polars. And Krista Flint will call a timeout. So I guess with 9:30 left, that gives us a little more time. You mentioned Tanysha being a highly intelligent point guard. What was it like at the McKenzie household when she would pay a visit?
Well, you know, I mean, it was girl stuff, so I didn't really have a lot.
You got out of the way.
I got out of the way, yeah. So, but, you know, most of the time it was after tournaments and those kind of things, and she, you know, they would just really want to rest.
I will say at school that, you know, many years later, the two of you and, well, in your case, a lot of folks in the basketball community stay connected. They continue to support each other, and there's never any question that, you know, you've got the back of a lot of people here.
Absolutely, and that's a fun thing, and especially when you watch like Tanysha and, you know, even on Crystal's staff, Tisha and Crystal Taylor, who played at North and played on championship teams as well. I mean, you watch these young ladies grow up, and now to see them come and giving back. And I see a lot of folks that play with both of them that are here, you know, in the audience supporting both of these coaches tonight.
Plenty of successful alumni during the state tournament dynasty. Maya Johnson, another one, of course, you know about Tamara Moore. She was the fire starter, if you will.
Yeah.
Maury Horton, I think you mentioned. Larea Starr, Alina's older sister.
So I think they're talking a little bit about when the clock starts to run.
The mercy rule, and we're not quite there yet. It has to be at 35.
Yeah, I think he was just checking in.
We're at 27. Pettis, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a good bucket. Got away with a little shuffle there.
Perhaps, but, and there she is with the steal. I should say the deflection, but Pettis is everywhere.
You know, she plays like her father. I coached her father, and he was one of the ultimate warriors. And you just see a lot of that in her.
And her mother, a graduate of Washburn, so when those two schools go at it, it creates a little bit of conflict for her mother, but naturally, bloodlines went out.
Sure. Always.
But it's another example of what North has that they can use to develop future teams. When you have a strong defense as they do, not afraid to go after deflections and steals, that's a good building block.
Yeah, I think they just got to stay together. Stay together, continue to play together, and they've got a great foundation to build on.
And there are a couple of pieces that did not come back this year. You mentioned Andrea Gray. Ariel Pinda-Gayosh was another one. But for the most part, this team has been intact. And as McNeil misses the three.
Just couldn't get it go down. Oh, look at the, whoa.
And it's a theme that is prevalent when you get to the NCAA tournament. The teams that have a high level of continuity and chemistry can pull off some surprising results.
No question.
And that's what a lot of the top programs in Class A have at their disposal. Wooden with the steal. Ballard pulls up and gets the Plinko bounce.
Good play, good pass.
Ballard with 14 points. So she is having a fine game for the Polars, and there's another steal.
So here's coming.
How many turnovers are we going to have at the end of this one? And how many steals is North going to have at the end of this game? We have another timeout here. The way North is attacking on defense here, it may not be enough to win the game, but I'm impressed with their grit.
No question. They're playing extremely hard. And one thing that they're not doing is watching the scoreboard. They're in spite of what the scoreboard said, they're playing every possession on both ends very, very hard.
And what you said is really important. Now, this game does count, as we said, so if DeLaSalle hangs on, Tanysha Scott will get her first win against Crystal and will be 1-0 in competitive play. But they know they're not going to see each other in state. Section play is coming up. And so, like you said, this is a good primer, and so it's wise to act as if there's no scoreboard.
No question. Just both. But going into the section, both of these teams could use this game as a momentum builder.
And that's what the two told me in the halftime discussion, or pregame discussion. Because in the case of North in particular, their conference,
Another good basket.
Alani Pettis adds another razzle-dazzle play to her highlight reel.
So she's warming up.
And she's on fire. If she can get a few more points, she might get a double-double in points and steals. Three on the way. McNeil can't knock it down, and there's a rebound for Pettis. And that will be her fourth personal foul. Got the push off on Nora. And line change subs coming in for the Islanders.
Yeah, the challenge is she's just trying to create some space and just having a tough time at that right now. So.
I was going to say, are you going to take any of this tape and show this to your boys at the next practice?
Probably.
No, your boys know what they're doing. I think you need to show them too much. They're still fighting for steals. Well, and some of them are here, so you see somebody like Odell Wilson.
Yeah, we got probably
maybe
over half of the team.
So no wonder why you don't have to show them tape. They're already here.
Yeah.
There's a foul on Kiana. Both teams in the bonus. Speidel with 3 triples and a pair of free throws, now has 3.
And Dee's been very good at the free throw line tonight. What are they shooting again?
They were 12 of 15 before this trip. Well, now you jinxed them.
Jinxed, yes.
That's my job, Larry. I'm the one who's supposed to jinx it.
Oh, good take. You know, I'm surprised by the officiating because they're really letting them play. And they've been pretty consistent.
I wouldn't say there's been any
good block.
craziness. And Kenya Brooks with her third block of the night. They don't give her any on the stat sheet. They might have to change that. And this isn't new as Speidel knocks down another three.
Well, just line it up and knock it down.
But Kenya Brooks, I remember a transition block she put up against South that stopped Morgan Hill from scoring down low. Six minutes to go, the Islanders lead by 25. Ballard lost it. Here's Flory. She breaks away and finishes.
Yeah, just been looking for North to make that run, and that has not happened yet tonight.
Ballard missing the three. And I think that has something to do with it. North has had trouble converting their shots. DeLaSalle, they've had some bumps, but when they've needed it, they've hit some clutch shots.
Yeah, they've been able to put a string of runs together.
Mary Claire Francois with the post-up move. Barring something crazy here with this win, DeLaSalle will go to 15-10. The Polars would fall to 16-9. But the big question for DeLaSalle, can they contend with the likes? That's a jump ball of Como Park in their section with Elena Jones and the three-point threat of Michaela Van Nett, or Matamidai with Emma Grothaus, the outstanding post player who's committed to Lehigh as a junior. Those are going to be the front runners out of that group.
Yep, so, and looking at Section 4A, I mean, there's a pretty nice team. Lesser Prairie and Mare Lutheran. I mean, boy, this could be pretty tough. Pretty tough section, probably one of the better sections.
4A usually is. Speidel hit another three-pointer. And there was a foul after the shot. So they'll count the three. And let's see, did they give her one or two? Oh, it won't matter because she missed. But Dakota Speidel with 18 points. And a bevy of three-pointers, and those are going to be free throws for Mary Claire Francois. In 4A, I would say Maranatha and Heritage would be the front runners. I'll see Mare Lutheran tomorrow as the girls play Minnehaha.
Yeah, I must have put the Jakes on because they've missed the last three.
Once you brought it up, they haven't hit one since. That's not to say North can't go deep in that section, but they're going to need to develop some consistency. Again, they have the defense to do it, but do they have the offense?
Yeah, got to put some points on the board.
And they only have 31 tonight. Like we said, if you got points for defense, they'd be doing quite well, but we'll see what happens. Maranatha, they've made the state tournament for the last 7 years.
Nice little run.
And if they get there this year, they would tie the record set by Minneapolis North for most consecutive appearances in girls basketball. There's another bullseye for you. Dakota Speidel. That is her 6th triple.
Not a bad night.
6 threes and 3 free throws. It was like that player from Oakland University last year that only shot 3-pointers. It goes up and in.
Good move.
Francois, the 14-footer, bounces out. Rebound goes to her.
Rebound.
Star for three. Bullseye. That gets her on the board.
I tell you, D's going to have a lot of weapons next year, considering they just have one senior on the team.
And it's even more impressive when you consider that for Tanysha Scott, she came in with a significant transition because this year she had to function without a trio of seniors in Asia Wilson, Taya Bowden, and Cameron Spees, who were the bulk of the scoring. And so this is a younger team that maybe wasn't quite sure of themselves and didn't have to step up as leaders the way they do now. And I remember covering their season opener against Holy Family Catholic. They went 11 minutes in the second half without scoring, lost that game. And since then, they've rattled off some impressive wins. So they could be dangerous this year, but like you said, even more so next year.
Yeah, just, obviously they've gotten a lot better since the beginning of the season. And so if they can go and play like they played tonight, the next couple of weeks, they'd have a chance to end up at the Target Center.
And the reclassification will take place after this season, so there's no telling where DeLaSalle will end up. But if they hang around in Section 4, well, they could give fits to the other schools. That's Maya Agunbiade, number 23, the junior center. Gianna Villarreal Griffin, that bounces out. We're in mercy rule time now, so we'll be out of here in about 90 seconds. If you looked at the score, you'd think this was just your conventional DeLaSalle runaway. When it comes to the defense, though, I think the Polars showed some things that the Islanders will work to adjust on when they take up their next practice. And we have a stoppage in play here with 59.7. And somebody picked up their fifth foul, apparently.
No, she got kicked out of the game, I think.
Oh, I see, number 32.
Well, they didn't call a technical, so I'm not sure what happened there, but he did. I guess he just encouraged her to go to the bench.
I'm not sure what happened. That was Dejanay Copeland. Well, there's North getting some O boards here. They needed a few more of those tonight, but again, DeLaSalle having the size advantage. That can make life in the post a little more difficult. But there was more to this game than the score would indicate. And like we said, Tanysha and Crystal hope that this will start a new rivalry and continue to build on the Minneapolis community. DeLaSalle may be a private school, but there are a lot of North Minneapolis connections down here.
No question about it.
And those two, again, great friends. Crystal has been a mentor to Tanysha, and I imagine that relationship will continue. But it's a final here. DeLaSalle wins 71-33, and Tanysha finally has defeated Crystal Flint.
Well,
as a
she
coach.
got one in the books.
She's now 1-2. 1-0 in competitive play. So your final thoughts here, Larry, before we go to our post game?
Well, you know what? Like you said, I mean, quite impressed with North on the defensive end. They've got to find a way to have somebody be able to put some points on the board. I don't know what the leading scorer finished with, but they struggled offensively. And so obviously, you know, you got to play really, really good defense to win and not be able to score. And I have to tell you, I'm very impressed with DeLaSalle, young team, some great bigs, height. I mean, they move the ball, they can shoot three, they rebounded well. So if not this year, I mean, they're definitely going to be contenders.
They certainly have improved and look far more ferocious than they did at the start of the year, and that's what you want.
Yes.
So we'll take a break and come back and try to get a word with some of the DeLaSalle players before we wrap things up. This is high school girls basketball. The Islanders knock off the Polars 71-33. And I'm joined by Nora Francois and Dakota Speidel of the victorious DeLaSalle Islanders. Nora, 14 points off the bench. You're just an 8th grader. Are you trying to weasel your way into a starting spot?
Hopefully next year, yes. Just building up a little cushion. Yep.
So tell me how this team has grown this year, because at the start of the year you struggled early on, had that tough loss to Holy Family where you had trouble buying buckets, and tonight the offense turned up the Jets in these last couple of games, a big win over Maranatha and another big win over North.
Well, T's been busting our butts, making sure we're putting in work on the court and at practice. So I have to give credit to T, and I also have to give credit to the team. Like, we work hard and we know what we want, and we're determined to work for it.
And how would you say you've grown as a player coming as an 8th grader, the youngest player on this team, and how have you gotten along with some of your older teammates like the one next to you?
Well, everyone's very welcoming. I was super welcomed coming in onto this team. Everyone was nice and accepting, and I have so many things that help me find motivation to work hard, play hard, and one of them is my family. They've been really supportive and really they've been really helpful with getting me to practice, getting me to games.
And what did you make of this game coming into tonight? You know, a back-to-back and a great friendship with Tanysha and Crystal. And so how did she prepare you for this game, and how did you shut down North?
Well, I like to stay open-minded before a game. I don't like to overestimate or underestimate any team. I just come, I play, I support my team, and giving support is the best way to find energy and build up the team.
And Dakota, we'll go over to you here. At 21 points, 6 3-pointers, and that's been a theme the last couple of games here where you've been knocking down shots from 3-point range. So what was in your stroke tonight?
Well, just being able to practice a lot really helps, and getting in rhythm with the game helped a lot. And yeah, just I kept on practicing and practicing. So yeah, that helped a lot.
And what does it say about this team and their growth, where you started the season with some tough losses, and now you've rattled off some big wins, Maranatha, Cretin-Durham Hall, and you came within a point of knocking off Holy Angels?
It shows that we're coming together better as a team now, and that we're just going to keep getting better, keep getting stronger, and just keep working hard with that. So, yeah.
And you're one of the leaders of a primarily young Islanders team. How has the leadership grown? Because when you started the year, you had to come in without the bulk of your scoring, who all graduated, and now it seems like the Islanders have found their offensive flow.
It's just with the cohesion, we're our leaders are stepping up, and we're working hard, and we just keep working hard, and yeah, I guess.
So do you have any plans on giving Steph Curry a run for your money?
Maybe someday. We'll see. Yeah.
And for the two of you, this is your last game of the season before section start. You've got a couple of tough competitors, Amada Midai and Como Park. So what's the attitude going to be in practice, and what does a 3-game winning streak do to give you a little momentum?
I just think the team has to stay positive and open-minded and just focused and be serious overall.
Yeah, we just got to keep working together like we have been, and we can achieve great things. Like you said, with that 3-game winning streak, not one person did that. We were all able to do that as a whole, and we just got to keep going with that through sections. So yeah.
And you want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Well, congrats on the win. We'll hopefully see you at the state tournament, but great to see this Islander team rally together in crunch time. Well, go enjoy those cupcakes now. That was Nora Francois, Dakota Speidel, and for Larry McKenzie and our entire crew, this is Mike Peden. Thank you for watching High School Girls Basketball.